The word wholesome.
Wholesome. Because a high value person or someone who is going to make impact in their world is someone who is a blend of several intelligences. You can't come out with a high IQ and think that solves your relational skills deficiency. You can't think that helps you with your mental health. You can't think that alone is going to prepare you for adversity. I mean, nobody's talking about children's diversity quotient. Nobody's talking about their social quotient. Nobody's talking about emotions. Nobody's talking about nobody's talking about purpose clarity. Nobody's talking about some of these things that are really key, for anyone to succeed. And education can't be, it can't deliver what it's supposed to deliver if it is haphazard, like if it is not wholesome, if we are not building this entire blend together, if we're just, particular about. The thing is, the high IQ will bring people through the door. Your schools are going to be filled up. Yeah. Everybody's going to be, oh wow, amazing school. But you see all those aspects you ignore? Those are the things that when one incident happens, it has the power to shut the doors of that school. I mean, we hear incidences of kids, maybe a teenager getting pregnant, for example, in school. It can shut an entire school down.
Absolutely.
But I mean, we were all high IQ and, these are relational problems, socials. A lot of kids are getting bullied. I mean, we even have terrible situation now where kids are getting poisoned in school. I don't know if you heard of the story in Lagos where another child poisoned her classmate.
Really?
Because she upped her, like she passed.
Wow.
She's always been the top in the class.
Yeah, and somebody else tops her.
And someone else took first, and she came second. I'm not even saying 10th position. I'm saying just second. So, I mean...
Let's talk about the adversity quotient.
Okay.
I'm very, very big in that.
Okay.
Very, very. Because we have a lot of young people who are taking their own lives. What's the word? I'm looking for dying by suicide, right?
Yeah.
Because they failed the course. Because, I mean, I was recently reading the story in Nasarawa University or something, as one of that university in Nasarawa State, where a student, a 100-level student, killed herself because she was afraid she was going to fail.
Wow.
And the pressure from home, right? And also, we have a lot of people who, when things just don't go the way that they want it, they feel like the world is against them, and then they just want to honor life themselves. That's a big problem. That's a big problem.
Education is not fixing that.
But then again, parents, what should parents do? Because we have a lot of parents who give their kids everything and make them feel like it's an easy world out there. And so when the kids hit the real world and things are not going the way that they want it, or they can't get all the things that they want, they find it difficult to leave. They don't want to leave anymore because, I mean, life has always been easy. Why is it difficult now?
Okay, so I mean, it boils down to what I'm saying. So this is not supposed to be, we can't blame one side. For example, we can't put the blame on the parents. We can't put the blame on the educational system.
Yeah.
We can't even put it on the religious, institutions. It has to be, I mean, everybody has to come together to build a wholesome person. We like exactly what you're saying. We're not prepared. Children's adversity quotient is not being built. So you come out from your bubble, from the beautiful home. If you're blessed to be from a beautiful home, you come out from there and you meet the real world, and you're not ready because, I mean, you've grown all your life. You're probably 15, 17, 18. No one is talking about the adversities. No one is talking about the challenges that you have to go through in life. In fact, parents are known to shield children. That is going through a financial crisis. Nobody's talking about it. In fact, we're hiding it. Mommy is making every effort to make sure there's still meat, there's still chicken. If we need to borrow,
Yes.
So we're not letting these kids in on the
what we're dealing
reality.
with.
We bear it. That is tough. That is a
And
hero.
so they believe that everything is easy, everything is well. And we talk about, Gen Zs in the workplace and how they behave, and they say, oh, they don't want to work, they don't want to. It's because nobody ever told them that they needed to work.
That's how it's supposed to be. We're not building that. The social, quotient is not being built.
Yeah.
So relational skills,
It's
zero.
not there.
You can see the level of rudeness. Gen
Yes.
Zs are known to be very rude. They're just trying to assert themselves, but nobody has guided them properly, so that they know how to express without being aggressive, without coming off rude, without coming off as people who have no culture. I mean, we're gradually getting there. Nigeria used to be a place where, you could boast, you could brag of raising responsible, cultured children. Oh boy. Get into
These
TikTok,
days.
get into Twitter, just the signs are everywhere.
But where does this leave us if we continue like this, if we do not begin to deliberately change this? Where does this leave us? Because I'm seeing these people becoming parents, and it's probably even going to be worse
That's the problem.
when they become parents.
That's the problem. The cycle continues. I mean, that's why I'm so passionate about getting word out there.
Let's go back to talking about high value people,
Okay.
high value individuals.
Okay.
Everyone, especially when you get on social media, people are talking about high value people, being a high value man, being a high value woman, but really nobody's telling you, how can I become a high value person?
Okay.
And should schools be able to, train kids to become high value performers or high performers, and also emotionally intelligent people at the same time?
Absolutely, it's possible. I mean, after having meetings here and there with stakeholders, and when I mention these things, they're like, you have to find a way to get it into the system, because we don't have this subject. We don't have a subject called emotional intelligence. We don't have adversity quotient as a subject. There's little trickles, little, sprinkles here and there in subjects like maybe social studies, civic education. You might just find a little half chapter here and there.
Yeah.
But we can do much more. We have to find a way. That's why I talk about upgrades. We have to find a way to bring these things into the
curriculum
system on time. If we can get these kids are most impressionable around the ages of 7 to 9. If we can get them there, if we can infuse these things at this point, they'll grow with it, and then the patterns will change. These are the same people who will grow to become parents tomorrow. It's what you give a child that they're going to, give back. Parents can't give you what they didn't get.
Absolutely. Very
Good.
correct.
They
Very
can give you
correct.
they're doing their best. Honestly, like, I'm not putting blames on people here. I'm not trying to, but I mean, those who are high value are able to be, they're aware. They're self-aware to a point where they've noticed that these gaps exist. So what high values do is they go after the right education. So imagine that you studied maybe engineering or whatever. You see an engineer now going to learn leadership skills, now going to learn stress management, now going for mental health studies, trying to get all those. Why, for God's sake, does someone have to pay thousands of naira and finish 12 years of education and still come out and start paying for courses? This one is 3 months. You pay 500 or something thousand, and then
you just said something that's very. Look, I've been taking a few courses,
Okay.
on some of these things,
Okay.
and I was wondering at some points. Look, if I probably grew up in a different society, I probably wouldn't have to
Come
be
do
paying
this
this much.
separately.
But even in advanced climbs,
Okay.
that's why people pay a lot more. You pay hundreds of thousands to get into leadership academies. Meanwhile, leadership could be taught at secondary school levels, could be
Okay.
taught at the university level, so you understand what it means to be a manager. We go for management courses and all of that, because I built a career for 10 years, and now I'm getting to management position, but I don't know what it means
You
to be
don't
a
have the
manager. You don't
skills.
have the management skills and all of that. But if you're able to go for those courses, some things are revealed to you, right? And we have a lot of managers. Today we talk about horrible bosses everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of these people did not get any of those
Yeah.
leadership skills, any of those management skills. And so for them, it's about, you have to do this now, and you have to, all
No
of those
empathy.
imposition, no empathy,
Yeah.
nothing.
No emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to you and wants to just, maybe instruct you or give you one or two assignments to get done, but the approach
It's
just
terrible.
demoralizes you,
Terrible.
like kills you, and then you want the same person that you've completely run down to be productive. You want them to be mentally stable, to deliver. How are they going to be productive? It just doesn't work. So we see the employees complaining about the employer, and the employer is completely helpless. The ones who are who listen probably would every now and then get people in to train stress management and anger management, and all those could have been handled in emotional intelligence classes way back. And when someone is already grown, learning can be tougher.
But again, I just realized something,
Okay.
right? So some of us, some people may have gotten these courses and these trainings, and then they get into environments where they work, because the Nigerian space. Someone said, "Look, Nigerians, the only language Nigerians or most Nigerians understand is violence." And they say if you're a calm and understanding, emotionally intelligent person, people will take you for a ride, especially if you're at management level. So you have a problem where people hardly listen to you because they feel, now this is a culture thing. Yeah, because you're easygoing, you're trying to understand with them and relate to them at their levels. It becomes you're taking for granted. This is a problem that most organizations have.
Okay.
So how do we change this culture?
Okay.
I'm thinking that this is where education comes in, because
Of
if these people
course.
were taught that people don't have to be rude to you, people don't have to be tough on you before you should be able to do carry out tasks.
what you're supposed to do.
How do we modify this?
It's just education. There has to be collaboration at all levels. We have to be open to help. A lot of organizations I approach, it's like, what do I say now? How do I put this? It's like they put the costs above the value. Right?
Yeah. So why are we going to pay somebody
Well,
5 million naira to come and teach us,
Good.
to come and talk about this thing?
Are you getting me? So a lot of people are struggling with allowing their people access the help that they need. And then when you even delve into those sacred topics like mental health, nobody wants to talk about
We should talk about mental health shortly.
Nobody wants to go there. It's like, just let sleeping dogs lie. I mean, you talked about managers, stressing about getting taken advantage of and all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, at some point, I have even had to ask, who is the one that said patient dogs eat the fattest bone? Like, did that person consider Nigeria when they were making this proverb?
I honestly don't think so. I don't think so. Personally, I've taken some of these courses and I've learned some of these things over time.
Yeah.
Going back 10 years ago. And you still see that people do not just want to listen. They just want you to trick them to get more results than you would, than your methods would, especially here. So I'm thinking that we have a different culture here, and maybe we need to modify these things to suit, adopt our own strategies.
Okay. But you know what I notice? We just we think these things that we missed, this learning gaps that we missed, we're just going to fix it with 3 days training. That's what we do. Oh, okay, yeah, let's just pay. Okay, if we can even, attempt it, let's just 3 days and then we're done. What? This is a robust curriculum that is supposed to take at least 3 years to infuse, to switch. Characters are easy to learn, or should I say negative habits are so easy to pick up. When you want to break it, when you want to change, that's where the hard work is.
Yeah.
You can easily become rude. I mean, if you stay around rude people, give yourself a month. you'll notice that you pick up that terrible culture. But now, sit back and try to change that narrative. You'll realize that it will take you longer to unlearn what you learned.
Very interesting conversation it's been, and I mean I'd love us to touch more on mental mess. All right, but before we talk about mental health, let's dig a little more into this whole culture. So someone said to me, one of the greatest shocks or culture shocks that Nigerians have when they travel abroad is saying that the bosses are not. They don't have to fear the bosses. I mean, they don't have to be all uptight when the bosses are around. They can easily interact with their bosses and all of that. And it takes me back to the kind of schools that we went to. If you went to a public university in Nigeria, you know that you dare not even talk to your lecturer. You dare not even ask questions a certain way, because that could earn you another year, an extra year. So this is something that's even in our educational system and our educational institutions. It is there from going from secondary school. You ask questions, maybe you don't understand something, and you ask a couple of times, and the teacher might just end up insulting you or even flogging you, and that drives fear into you that you don't know how to interact with people who are, superior to you. You don't know how to engage people who are similarly superior to you.
Let me just cut to the chase. Like emotional intelligence, social intelligence. Your teacher doesn't have it. He wasn't groomed. I mean, I was engaging a few teachers just last week. While you were training to be a teacher, did you learn child psychology? And they looked at me and just the same scoff, just the same laugh. I just gave that, like, what is that? So maybe we stumbled on it here and there, but it wasn't a thing. They didn't stay on it long enough. How are you going to train and groom teachers to come on board to educate kids who have no idea how a child's psychology works? How is a teacher not aware that children learn by asking questions? Here, you ask too much questions, you are insultive.
Meanwhile, one of the traits of a good kid is inquisitivity.
Yeah. So that's how they learn. That's how they soak up. That curiosity, that's what makes them learn. And here, you ask a question, you ask twice, I mean, you've gone off, you're not supposed to. They're not prepared.
Well, even parents do that, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
So don't ask me this. Just go and watch cartoon. Don't your questions are too much. You're asking too many questions. Go on watch. Yeah.
So we are used to shutting kids down. Instead of showing them. Okay, maybe if a child approaches you and asks a question and is not expressing themselves properly or nicely, what you should rather do is not shut the child down, but now impart wisdom. Okay, this is how to approach an elderly person. So now you've done two things. You've answered that question. You've also given that child another kind of value. You've taught them etiquette. This is how to talk.
Now, I love this so much because I'm doing a series from next year where we're going to be educating, especially Gen Z parents. I mean, these people who are going to become parents, because a lot of them don't even know. Someone said, look, some of these people haven't led themselves. They haven't trained themselves. How can they train somebody else? It's a big fear because I'm worried about the current crop of people that we have, and I'm wondering what the next generation would look like.
Basically chaos.
So I think that we need to begin to teach people how to even practically raise a kid, because these days we feel like freedom is everything. Just let the kid do whatever they want to do. I mean, how can a 4-year-old, how can you allow a 3-year-old to do whatever they want to do? I was in a setting a few days ago, and the 5-year-old was telling her mother that what she was wearing was wrong. Like it was wrong for her to put on a certain kind of, and I'm this kid, but this kid has probably learned this in school and is telling you that you should cover up some more, and in trying to just cover up whatever had just played out, she was like, shutting the kid down. And I said, look, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be shutting the kid down. This is a good thing that the kid knows this. All right, you should encourage her to be able to.
So it's hard for adults to take responsibility.
Exactly.
It's hard for us to be accountable. If you never learned how to, it's going to be hard when a child is calling you out. So I mean, in that situation, is to call the child aside. Okay, so see, sorry, maybe mommy's not dressing as decently as mommy should be. But we can talk about this maybe in some other space. And anytime you have some idea or suggestion or something you want to tell mommy, don't scream it out loud in public, right? Come to me, whisper, say this or this. There's a way she would have addressed that child and validated what the child was saying about decency, but also teaching that child that you shouldn't be embarrassing your parents. That's not the manner to approach. You're saying something good, but you're saying it the wrong way. And this is going to make an adult get defensive instead of taking the truth.
Absolutely.
And all that. So,
well said there. The conversation continues. We've been talking about reforming education for a thriving Nigeria. My guest has been Mema Ekukinam. I'm trying to not mess the name up again. She's a girl child education advocate or girl education advocate. She's a high value coach and CEO Healing Scars Academy. Now let's get to talk about. We talked about emotional intelligence. We talked about social and adversity quotient and all. Now let's talk about the quality of education in the terms of academic work. There's certain schools that put a lot of pressure on kids, to learn. You have to perform, you have to deliver. So recently, a friend of mine, told me about her sister being fired because the kids failed the subject that she was taking.
Wow.
So, and I was like, why would your sister be fired because the students failed? They said it means that she was not teaching them well, that they failed because she wasn't teaching them well. And I said, is that who your sister is? And she said, no, my sister is the kind of person who, when I try to mark, when I see her marking, I beg her to add 1 mark for these kids, because I feel like someone who gets 39, I mean, it wouldn't be, just add 1 and let them get 40 and let them pass, And my sister would never do that. Like, she is so disciplined and all. She feels if you deserve it, you get it. If you don't, you don't get it. And she was fired, And that brings me to ask, when children perform, when children get good grades, is it something to go by these days, considering the fact that parents pay so much? And to see that these kids get good grades in school, and when the schools, I mean, sometimes it feels like the schools deliberately just give them good grades so that, they retain these kids as students there, and not really pay attention to whether or not they pay. So long as the kids can speak good English, just make them pass, And
that's not education as far as I'm concerned. You can't build somebody just on a high IQ, ignore every other thing, ignore the child's mental well-being, and then, just it's all about the A's. I said something when I started talking that, a lot of schools just use these high IQs to market. It's like a marketing tool. It is like what adds value. Parents want to see everybody is passing. So, it boils down to education. We have to educate. It's like a 3-angle situation where the religious institutions have to come in, educational sector the parents have to, be called to order. It has to be a collaborative effort where everybody is aware that just high IQ doesn't make a child. Should I say 1-hour test that a child sits to write isn't the sum of the intelligence of that child. It's a really poor way to grade,
of assessing
to assess no human being. like totally not okay. You know, a lot of schools have even adopted not giving. You know, at first we used to have first, second, and all that.
So because they don't want anyone to fail.
Yeah.
No
So
one-
now a lot of schools have actually stopped. Now they just
Further
assess.
going back to the adversity quotient thing, because a lot of kids, kid who has never experienced failure before goes out to the world and, oh, you didn't pass this, or fails a few interviews, ends up offing themselves because they think, oh, I've never failed in my life.
Yeah.
How come I'm failing now? How come someone is telling me that I failed when all my life, there's
you've
never
always
been.
been A's.
And that brings me to ask again. A lot of people determine quality of education by how much is paid,
Okay. Yeah.
which is why we pay through our nose these days to educate our kids. And at the end of the day, these same schools remove the grading systems and just make everybody pass. Everybody has to pass, even if the kid is not doing so well. Oh no, the kid cannot repeat, they're paying so much. Oh, the kid cannot fail, their parents are paying so much. These things happen. Where do we go from here?
We have to upgrade. We have to upgrade. Every child's IQ, every child's learning ability, every child's intellectual ability is different. Like I said, to bring one test and then pass 200 kids on that one, like assess them on that, is totally off. Is totally wrong. It doesn't give these tests don't have the capacity to test the right quotient, to test the right intelligences. Okay, you might have a child who is really strong on literature, for example, another one really strong on maybe the sciences, another one really strong on the test. When we have this assessment,
Give them general tasks.
general assessment, it's hard to find the uniqueness. It kills the creativity of these children. It kills their uniqueness. It leaves no room for individuality. It doesn't leave room for that. You just, it's just a general thing, and then maybe this one has so and so score, and this other one is at the bottom. The one who is at the bottom can actually be an A if they're being tested in the right, should I say, in the right quotient. If you put them in their sphere. So education has to diversify. We have to create room to accommodate the uniqueness of these kids. Like, we can't lump them together and just, grade or assess using, no. Something has to be done. Like,
Very interesting thing
Yeah.
you just mentioned. Learning abilities. There are kids who have certain disabilities.
Definitely.
There are kids who have who are in the
Special
spectrum.
needs.
Yes, special needs. The kids who have some like dyslexia, for
Yeah.
instance. Do we pay attention to that? And I know that some of these high-end schools may, but I mean the general public education system
Yeah.
or some of the other private schools may not have had the opportunity
Absolutely.
to learn in ways that suit us, right? The kids who have these seeming disabilities,
and funny
some of them
enough,
are
they're
in
not-
the
They are not deficiencies.
yes,
They're
okay,
not deficiencies. Funny enough, it's just they are unique.
okay,
They are special in a certain environment, in a certain inclusive learning environment. They actually thrive. I've met kids whose heads are like computers. The only thing they understand is maths and numbers. I mean, as an adult, you couldn't even keep up with what this kid can do. But take that same child, give them a book to read, put them in literature, for example, and they will fail colossally. Like, they will they'll be so miserable because this is not. How about we allow this uniqueness? How about we upgrade our system, our curriculum, to allow this uniqueness? What's the essence of training a child 12 years, maybe 16 or thereabout in the system, they get a degree and they come out and they don't even have purpose clarity? Because the area you should have groomed, you've completely ignored for about 15 to how many years? And so this child has to still come out. I mean, the parents already know that this child is unique. Let me use maths, for example. This is the area. What is this child who is unique in this subject? What is this child doing with literature? Why are we wasting this child's time in maybe engineering or in this or in that? How about we pull this child out and just, so it's a vast area, like I said. So imagine schools now having like maybe 15 different learning rooms, and each room is specific,
uniquely tailored for,
uniquely set to accommodate kids who are maybe in this nature. There are kids who are like maybe kinesthetic, like they
like
have
to feel.
they have to feel, they have to
touch, and all.
They have to be involved practically. They have ADHD. They can't pay attention for too long. This child can't sit and just be looking at you talking for 1 hour. You lost them
at 7 seconds.
Good.
Or 7 minutes ago.
You lost them long time ago. But call the same child. Put something in their hands. They are building, they are crafting. It's crazy. You who is teaching can't even keep up. Right? So that's what education is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a means to an end. We're supposed to find those uniqueness. We're supposed to groom them to bring. That's why we're where we are in society.
Well, now let's talk about how government can, begin to bring about this evolution and in the educational sector. We have in the Ministry of Education and Minister of Education. Can we begin to look at these aspects of education and involve them or include them in our curriculum? Absolutely. To see that this, and then the legal framework, that's another thing. So allowing for these policies
new policies
to come in to evolve and just change the educational sector.
Process.
How do we drive that quickly so that we can see it beginning to happen?
What I'm doing is basically trying to create the awareness.
Yeah.
So if more people can come on board, if teachers who know the truth can come on board and say this is no longer sufficient, we have geniuses in our hands, and what we are feeding them is killing the genius in them. What we have is insufficient to build, what we have in our hands. If more people can come on board and, keep driving the narrative, talking about this, we create awareness, advocacy visits, collaborations, trainings, everything. Try out new initiatives. Educators, we need to open our doors for new initiatives. You now have, I get to some places and they have like 14 subjects. They have 16. What is one child doing with 16 subjects? At 7 to 10, you already can tell the tendencies that this child has. We need to bring in counselors into the school system. You go to some places, they don't have counselors. Who is talking with these kids? How are you debriefing? How are you even able to help them? You will just lump them all in one space. And, and they move through the system. We flush them out. Look at the society. I mean, if we want to check our statistics, just get on Twitter, get on TikTok. See what we're
turning out.
Yeah, see what we're turning out.
Interesting. The conversation continues. You can join in now if you have thoughts, comments, and suggestions to share with us. Feel free to join in and share your thoughts with us. My guest has been Mema Ekukinam. She is girl child advocate, a high value coach, and the CEO of Healing Scars Academy, joining us in this conversation. Bring your thoughts in and let's talk. If you need to learn anything, if there's anything that you've learned, also share with us. By the way, we're gonna give out some of your books, right? Let's give out a few of your books. She is an author as well. She's the author of Despise the Shame. You want to read that book as well. Join in the conversation. Giving out these 3 books to the first callers. First 3 callers would get copies of these books. So call in now 09073530044 and 09087668888. That is 09073530044 and 09087668888. This is about you. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. That is 09097054450. Don't forget, you can reach us on our socials at Eagles FM Abuja, at Eagles FM Abuja. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Abubakar.
Nacho.
Good to have you.
This is Abubakar calling you from Google.
All right, Abubakar. First of all, congratulations. You just won a copy of Mema's book, so you want to grab it? Reach me later.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
May God continue to bless your efforts. May you reach the peak of your career.
I mean,
it's a good one. She's a resource person who is investing her entire life in upgrading children. If we lay a good educational foundation of our children, we'll be one of the great nations, one of the best countries in the world. Our children education should not be taken lightly. Just like she rightly mentioned, all children should not be grouped into one category. There are children who have learning difficulties. We have children who at the side they learn very quickly. There are children who have to be grown. They will pick up gradually. They will be accumulating knowledge. Their learning is slower and slower, but at the end they will become genius. That is the observation. Even in the developed world, the inventors, the innovators, they are not the academically brightest peoples. It is maybe drop out that later become inventor in life. So we should give attention to all children, maybe in music, in entertainment, etc. She have already said it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abubakar, for sharing that one with us. You two can join the conversation now. Call 09073530044 and 09087668888. I'm hoping that the minister is listening. The Minister for Education is listening, or someone in his office is listening to, pass this across. We need to begin to, pay more reform and redefine education in this country. The children of the poor also deserve quality. And when we talk about quality education, it's not just about having teachers in the classroom or classrooms with desks and tables, or tables and chairs. We need to have them actually learn what it is to go through life, what they need to go through life to succeed in life in general. And my guest has done a very good job talking about that earlier. Now let's talk about those who impact knowledge, the knowledge, givers or teachers.
Educators.
The educators, the teachers.
Yeah.
At what point? Because you see people just get a beard or an NCE, and they use that, and that's all they get for the rest of their life. They're teaching courses. Funny thing happened when I was in school. So I got into the school, and I met somebody who had gone through that school like 10 years prior, right? And he says, "Oh, is this so-and-so professor still in that?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Does it still come with that jotter, that blue and white jotter?" And I'm like, "Exactly, he does still come with that jotter." And he's like, "So this man has probably this been teaching the same thing for 10 years or more. The same way, nothing has changed about it. He comes in with that same, jotter." And I'm wondering, what this is also a problem for secondary schools, for instance, where a teacher gets an NCE or a BEd in 1992, and she's still a teacher today, teaching children the same things that she learned without training. We talk about training the trainer and trainings and retrainings for them. How much should government invest in training and retraining teachers?
I think the government is investing quite a lot. Let's call a spade a spade. If the numbers we hear, in our budgets are correct.
But then we also talk about, the budget not being enough, not meeting the required standards.
Definitely. I don't think there'll ever be a year where the budget will ever be enough. I don't think money will ever be enough. I think it's not about money. I think it's about the passion to get this thing done. When there's collaboration, your little can become plenty. So if we collaborate with the proper stakeholders at different levels, whatever little comes in, let's at least start. Let's start somewhere. Whatever little comes in with the proper collaboration, a lot of these things can actually get done. Sometimes we think we need so and so huge amounts to get stuff done, but with the right hands on deck, definitely
That can
changes can start coming in.
Well said. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning, Honorable Anthony. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, let's hear you, please.
It's a great show. I like the program. Something about education. But the educational system in this country, at least we are trying. I cannot say we are not trying. We are doing our best. But a lot needs to be done. You made mention about a professor, a certain teacher having the same and right for the suspension of teaching up till this point. And you are wondering, why is that man not changing? Why is that man not improving? Then you ask yourself this question: how much are they paying our teachers? How much are they paying them in order for them to get this certification? Certifications are expensive. When you check their monthly take home, their family needs, and their day-to-day activities, then you see that there is no much left for them to advance or furnish themselves in certificating themselves in areas of education. In fact, the public schools is quite okay compared to the private schools. When you go to these private schools, you see the way they treat the teachers. They are low paid, even if they want to train them. They are not training them in getting any certifications, but they are just sitting down, telling them no child must fail and things like that. So, you can see that a lot needs to be done. I am not blaming anybody, but what I am saying is this: teachers are trying. They need to be commended. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Anthony. Very valid points you brought up there about, remuneration for teachers and professors. And getting to learn that the professors get paid around 400,000 naira a month, in this age and time, leaves you wondering, especially when there are no funds for research, not so much. Even private organizations, the organized private sector, maybe needs to invest more in education.
That's why I talked about collaboration.
Yeah.
If we don't cry out that we need help, we wouldn't even, investors wouldn't even know that this is, a field to come in. Nobody knows what. Look at what he said now. If you don't say what's going on with you, you're the one who wears the shoe.
Yeah.
You know how it pinches. If you don't come on board and say something, nobody will know. People might be in their offices making policies, and they need to get into the system. They need to get into the real thing, the classrooms. They need to interact with these teachers, the ones who are practically dealing with this thing every day. Sometimes I see teachers and I actually pity them. This age group, they are, I'm sorry to useless. You see that the teachers have given up hope, because the children they have to deal with on daily basis, emotionally, zero. Socially, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to relate, they don't know how to manage their emotions. So much needs to be done, and just like we have said, this is not to point fingers. Parents need to come on board, the teachers need to come on board, policymakers, everybody needs to come on board.
Well said. Let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Anacho.
Good morning.
I'm money this morning. Good morning, my sister in the studio.
Good morning.
Well, now thank you. My name is Blessing. I'm calling from Osako. Now
Yes.
So if you have a full mouth for issue education, our children, they know they achieve anything for this government for education. I don't know. Our teacher was supposed to help us. They know they voice their voice out. Now only doctor with the ear. But the issue of education where they're supposed to pull effort, nothing. I will even ask now why doctor no dey, our teacher no dey talk, maybe from no dey Abuja again, from no even dey interest again. fine, issue education, they are not paying it, they are not paid them well. They are not paying our teacher well. After all, I don't even know what are they teaching our students. I don't know. You will even go to school, no chair to our children to sit down. Children will just they move all over the class, no seat, nothing, no water, nothing. And our teacher no get anything to do about it. They know the their boss house. If not be say as now they talk now. If not be say now we go see the talk for their mouth. What is wrong now for Nigeria? That I don't really know. Please, whether we go beg yes we can or our president education where we need. Not be so it be before. Make them look around, check the class, whether the children they are doing well, whether they have enough teacher in the class. One teacher go teach how many subjects, 5 subjects or 6 subjects. It's not supposed to be like that.
Okay.
Make they take care of our teacher well, make teacher take care of our children well, make they teach them well.
Thank you
now,
very much.
This money be done. God bless you very much.
Thank you for calling. A BB blessing there. Again, many people concerned about
a lot of people are sad.
What the teachers are paid and all.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. She mentioned that thing. I don't know if you saw the pictures of a school in the FCT where children were to learn and all of that. It's quite heartbreaking to see that. Really disheartening. But finally, what do we do to drive? Because if a person doesn't know that they have a problem, they don't know how to solve it. What are we doing to point teachers and schools, educational institutions to this direction to say, look, there's more to education than just getting good grades, high IQs and all. How do we begin to point them in that direction so that they can also acquire these skills?
It boils down to creating more awareness. Like coming out here like this and talking about this, maybe sending out more articles for those concerned parents, concerned onlookers, concerned teachers, for those high values in society who can see the deterioration going on in the system. Please speak up. Let's use our platforms to effect change. Let's call out what needs to be called out, without being insolent about it, insulting. I mean, when we abuse ourselves, we were getting nowhere. We're getting nowhere. Calling people names and just letting your emotions and your anger run wild, because it's actually enough to infuriate anybody. If you have a child, it's enough to infuriate you, But then emotions will get us nowhere. We need intelligence to know how to channel this positive complaints to the right quarters to get the change that we're looking for. So let's keep creating the awareness. Let's keep talking about this. Let's collaborate. Parents, do your part. If you notice something is not right, if everybody that has a child in a school is aware and is doing something, honestly, we wouldn't even have to come on air.
Well said.
Yeah.
Parents, do your part. Everyone who has a kid, do your part to make sure that, if you learn new stuff, you can also share them with the teachers. It can help. It's just a way to notch them on to.
You can even